it's Annie coming to you again today, and I'm coming with these two videos today, but this first one here is to ask if anybody could help me out with something. Okay, I have two questions. I'd like to know if there's anybody who is willing to come forward, and I don't mean like someone just an everyday person, but I'm trying to lend validity to the targeting by way of electromagnetics and by way of electronics. Not that anyone else's story is invalid. Okay, I believe everybody's story. When they come forward and they tell me that they're being targeted, I believe that. But I would like someone who's either currently government or former government employee, or who has direct knowledge and has experienced this and has seen this in action, who's worked in an official capacity, such as maybe a police officer, a former police officer, any official, a sergeant, a person who worked with the FBI or the CIA, or Department of Homeland Security. I tried to ask one individual on here if he would please come forward and let me do an interview with him. I have not heard back from this individual yet, so I'm assuming the answer's no. Okay, but I'm still going to ask again. If there are any of you out there that might be watching this that could let me interview you on my channel, you can choose the format of how you want the interview done, that you can come forward and let me interview you and ask you some questions so you can prove the argument that people are being targeted with electromagnetic and electronic directed energy weapons. Okay, it's one thing to hear it from myself, but I also don't work for a governmental agency. I don't work in an official position of that capacity. Okay, so I'm looking for, like I said, former or current employees of some type of federal agency, state or local agency that knows about these things and is willing to let me interview them on my channel. Okay, so I'm asking you, please, could you be willing to be interviewed by me, and we'll discuss the details by way of email, okay, of, you know, what format it's going to take and other little details. And I also have another question too, and I've been having a very hard time finding, you know, actual footage of this or real accounts of this happening. Now, we both know that these hurricanes that have been going on, these man-made hurricanes that have been striking, okay, us at the end of August and into the early part of September, okay, we know that these are man-made, and I was just wondering if somebody could come forward who maybe lives in those regions and has direct knowledge and can prove to me the goings-on with the shelters. What I want to know particularly is if people are being detained against their will, if the shelters are doing something nefarious, okay, detaining people, or they're rounding people up, you know, that the media is not reporting on. Everybody's watched the media reports, and we know it's not accurate. Okay, so I'd like to know if Agenda 21 is in full swing down there, okay, which is, you know, the bottom line goal of Agenda 21 is for depopulation. And I wonder, my question is there anyone that can come forward that will allow me to interview you on my channel, and you can choose the format of the interview and whatnot, who can prove, maybe with pictures or otherwise, prove the validity of what is going on down in the southern regions where the storm has hit. I need to know FEMA's involvement in various areas and exactly what they're doing, Walmart's involvement, any details you could possibly give me, I'll very much appreciate. Okay, because, you know, we know by now when we have weatherized weapons such as HARP, and we know we'll think back to the July 4th holiday when Mike Pence visited NASA. Okay, why would a vice president go to NASA? Okay, when when the chief is in Europe trying to so-called restore relations in Europe, you would think that the vice president would be right there. No, Mike Pence is visiting NASA instead. Now, don't you find that a little bit suspicious? I mean, I believe that depopulation might have been discussed over the July 4th holiday. While we're celebrating fireworks and our barbecues, they're discussing how to get rid of us. Okay, via Agenda 21, FEMA camps rounding people up, storms, and it's very possible that if many more places are going to become storm-ridden as well as earthquakes, our teetering economy that balances on a tightrope at this time could very well just fall to the other side. It could inadvertently affect our economy and therefore might create a possible economic collapse. So the areas where the storm has not affected, okay, might be affected in another way via the economy. Okay, so, you know, if anyone's willing to come forward with these two things and allow me to interview you, I would very much appreciate it. I would really like that because, you know, there are a lot of skeptics and doubters out there and haters and everything. And if we have people who are legitimate from official sources to come forward with the targeting by way of electronics and electromagnetics, and also another person who could give me first-hand accounts or even what they witnessed in the storms, these storms aftermaths in the regions that they were affected and what's going on with the people down there. Yes, we pray for all of you that have suffered these tragedies. Okay, but this was not by accident. This is not hurricane season. Not when things like cloud seeding are happening. Okay, and it said that the trailer for Geostorm, the movie Geostorm. Watch the trailer. I have, and boy, how disturbing that is. I just started learning these things in May, and the amount of information that I have taken in is staggering. Okay, and sometimes it takes a little bit for me to sort these things out because some of them are just downright bizarre. I'll say it. These plans are absolutely bizarre. Okay, that they could use things like this against tax-paying Americans, which they consider to be necessary idiots. They're necessary until they're not necessary. Okay, and when they're not necessary is becoming very soon. Okay, so anyway, I'm already a targeted person as it is, so I don't mind asking you guys to help me out with this. And because my job is to expose evil and to give people solutions for evil. Okay, and I want to let the guy know who created that device for electromagnetic zapping. I want to let you know I did not forget you. Okay, I'll probably be able to do something with that, I'm thinking this week, if not very early next week. Okay, but thank you for tuning into this today, and remember it's John 3:16 or John 3:17. It's either one or the other. And if you're red, you're dead. If you're blue, they'll torture you. If you're yellow, you're a stupid fellow.